Let's now go to Parliament because the majority in the House has confirmed that 6 persons were killed and more than 20 others injured by the military during an operation in Bawku on Sunday, July 13, 2025. Now, according to the caucus, the incident also saw the demolition of a statue of the overlord of the Kusau traditional area by members of the Ghana Armed Forces, alongside reports of looting of civilian shops. Now addressing journalists, the MP for Timpani, Lydia Lamisi Akam-Variba, condemned the actions of the military and called on the Ghana Armed Forces to issue an unqualified apology to the overlord and residents of Kusau area. ChannelOne News' Ni Ayikwe Okain reports.
The majority members from the Upper East region addressed journalists on reports of attacks on civilians as well as the destruction of the statue of the overlord of the Kusau traditional area by the military. Now, the group disclosed that about 6 persons were killed by the military, with over 20 being injured on Sunday, July 13, 2025. The group called for the military to render an apology to the overlord of the Kusau traditional area whilst a probe is instituted into the matter.
In the afternoon of Sunday, 13 July 2025, ostensibly in response to an attack by unknown gunmen on a vehicle under military escort, the military personnel in Bawku went on rampage and murdered 6 people, maimed more than 20 others, and caused huge destruction to the property of citizens in Bawku. Some of them looted the shops of the people and made away with huge sums of money. We demand the following on the government of Ghana: that the armed force render an unqualified apology to the Zuran and the people of Kusau for the unprofessional and banditry of the military on the 13th of July 2025 in Bawku.
Following President Mohammed's directive to scrap fuel allowances and to halt fuel allocations to all political appointees as part of a broader cost-cutting strategy, some members of Parliament have expressed varied opinions about the directive. Now, whereas the minority side of the House believes it is a populist move, the majority side believes it is a step in the right direction.
Clearly, if you ask me, I think there are more questions to be asked with this particular directive. I just see it as populist. It's just public gimmick and a clear case of PR and settings. That's what I would say. If they really and actually want to be seen that they are biting the bullet and really scrapping this fuel allowance, I say 2 things: the fuel depot at the Castle Osu and the fuel depot at Jubilee House. Once you close down these 2, then, because these are the places that the government appointees go for the fuel. So nobody should come and play with our mind. I say close down these fuel depot. And then number 2, how much were we spending on this fuel allowance? Once we get to know, then at the end of the year, we can say that, okay, we've made savings of 1 Ghana cedi or 10 billion cedis or 100 million cedis. But without that, they're just playing on our mind. And who is a political appointee? There must be definition. Every CEO, mind you, the CEOs have contracts also different from that of ministers. I've been a CEO before. Your entitlement includes fuel allowance. They don't take that fuel allowance or fuel coupons or fuel from Castle Osu or Jubilee. It is embedded in the organization's cost of running the machinery. So please, we've had enough settings. We need clarity on these matters.
Do you know how many government vehicles we have? So many government vehicles, and I think it's setting a good example that they should buy their own fuel. I think that would be good for the nation, yes. And we, the members of Parliament, we buy our own fuel. Nobody gives any member of Parliament fuel allowance. No, we buy our own fuel. Whether coupons or whatever, we buy our own fuel. So you are a minister and then you are buying your own fuel. You are just sacrificing a little bit for the nation.
The Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Ahmed Ibrahim, was also on the floor on Tuesday to provide briefing to the House on the recent demolition carried out at the Sakumo Ramza site.
The operation has so far following positive outcomes. 1. Restoration of natural drainage pathways, significantly reducing flood risk in vulnerable areas. 2. Reclamation of core wetland zones, paving way for ecological restoration and long-term conservation. And I know that Minority Chief Whip is an environmentalist, so he agrees with me. 3. A strong deterrent effect on future illegal development within the protected zone. And 4. Reinforcement of lawful spatial planning and environmental governance.
Lawmakers have urged the government to ensure that all unlawfully erected buildings on wetlands across the country are demolished. Reporting for ChannelOne News from Parliament, Ni Ayukwe Okan.